Yeah, I'm just curious, how many people knew about Vinnie or the story before the movie? Yeah, just a couple people. It's crazy. I didn't know about it either. And I'm always shocked. 'Cause I watch a lot of sports and everything, and I feel like if it happened today with all the 24-hour kind of media and everything, absolutely would have heard about it. But it's just an unbelievable story. It transcends boxing. Truly, just somebody faced with those kind of odds, and really for me, it was like somebody who. I mean, Vinnie loved boxing so much and felt like he was really put on this earth to be a fighter. He felt so strongly about that he would have rather tried to do that than walk. In the state that he was in, to try and bench press and continue to work out with a fractured C3 C4 in his vertebrae. It was just like yeah. And he told me, he said, Miles, I would have rather, if I couldn't fight, I didn't care about walking. And that's just it's an incredible person who can do that, but also he's insane. He's a psycho. He's a Tasmanian devil, man. Dude's I was just with him in Vegas 2 days ago for the Vegas premiere. I was like, man.
And you made it back here.
And I made it back here, yeah, because I'm a professional.
Well, what is it about Vinnie that made you the right person to portray him in this film?
I couldn't tell you, honestly. I felt like I connected to the material, but a lot of actors read scripts that they feel that they're right for and never get an opportunity to do it. It's tough being an actor sometimes until you get to a certain place where you just kind of tell them you want to play the part and it happens. Somebody really has to take a chance on you, and for this particular movie, that's what happened. The director, writer, Ben Younger, I met him like 3 years ago, and this was before Whiplash had come out. I had a couple films on my resume. He actually saw this film I did called The Spectacular Now a couple years ago, and from that, he felt like he saw enough in me to be able to play Vinnie. When I met him, I was like 25 or 26, not in good shape. I was probably I'm like Irish. I was probably like pretty pale. I was probably, whatever, a bit disheveled looking. And so when I met Ben, my agent sent me the script, and I read the script, and I said, this is a really incredible project. This is going to be a really great part for somebody else. I honestly didn't think that I was on his short list or anybody's short list to play this badass, this 5-time world champion, this Italian American. I just figured it would go to another actor who already had abs or something. Like I was playing kids at that point when I met Ben. I really was. I was playing guys. I think maybe I just finished the movie That Awkward Moment or something, like guys either in college or right after college. But Ben, all the credit goes to him, man. He was really the guy who said, yeah, Miles is my guy.
And I even asked him, I said, didn't you see Footloose?
Yeah, when you see Footloose, you're like, this guy can play Vinnie Paz.
Well, you had some good foot moves. You had some good moves, which a fighter needs. That could have been given him an idea, but no, he hadn't. He did. He based his decision on you on The Spectacular Now. When you get a script like this is really your first fully adult performance. You make the transition with this role.
Yeah, I mean, and absolutely, I could have. Well, I thought a part like this I thought I was like a couple years off. I don't know. I felt like for him to offer me that part at that point in my life, I felt really fortunate, and I was very scared, very nervous. I mean, yeah, in your 20s, you're just hoping to, hopefully you can get some characters that have some stakes, and I've been fortunate to have those opportunities. But for the most part, if you're in your 20s, you're playing somebody's son, or you're playing a friend, or you're playing, whatever. And I don't know. That's why, I feel when people really want to criticize young actors, like, oh, why'd you make this choice and why'd you make that choice? We're not really making a ton of choices, man. Someone's got to say yes, and most of the time people say no. And in your 30s and 40s is when you get, for a male, that's really when you're getting the best parts, the most rich kind of text to work off of. So, but yeah, I look at actors that I admire, and just like Sean Penn and or look at Leo and those guys and seeing what they were doing at 26, 27 years old, and Pacino and De Niro, and you need to really make a decision to put some real stuff down on paper, because it's easy to just float around and do these things that you're good at. I think naturally in your comfort zone, but if rarely is Hollywood going to say, hey, you need to do this now. Maybe you should mix up your career. No, I was feeling like this was a time for me to take on a big responsibility, and fortunately Ben, gave me that chance.
Well, and in taking on that responsibility, there's a lot of responsibility that goes into the preparation for a role like this, for a performance like what you gave. I know what you went through, but enlighten the audience.
Performance-enhancing drugs, a lot of PEDs and steroids. Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm not an athlete though, so I could do them if I wanted to. No one's testing me for that shit. And a lot of actors are on that stuff, so whatever. But yeah, I got cast in March, and I was very excited. The fact that I was going to get to play this guy, and I felt like I had kind of won something or accomplished something just by being cast, and that's bullshit. That goes out the window pretty quick. I'm cast in March, and I know by November, whatever it was, November 11th, I was going to be on screen playing this guy, and I better know how to box, and I better be in killer shape and all that stuff. So I got cast in March, and I had to do 2 films in between, in Atlanta and Baton Rouge. Stepped on the scale, I was like 188 pounds and 19% body fat, and I was like, this is way off. And so I got a trainer, a nutritionist, and yeah, we just started working, man. He told me the diet, I adhered to it. I started doing weights and stuff while I was filming those 2 movies, and I lost 20 pounds. I got down to 6% body fat. And to me, that was like, that's just to get you in the door. At first, you got to like look like a boxer so people can say, okay, yeah, he's got a body type to where he'd be able to be a boxer. And then you got to know how to box. So I didn't have that much time, man. I only had, I think, 5 weeks maybe with my coach in LA. And it was this guy, Daryl Foster, who trained Sugar Ray Leonard for 18 years. And he trained Muhammad Ali, or he trained Will Smith when he played Ali. The guy's like a master in the art of teaching boxing. And so we just condensed all this training into like 5 weeks, and we filmed this movie in 24 days and $6 million. Like, it's not pretty much every other boxing movie you're going to see. They have a lot of days. It's tough to film a fight scene, and we had 1 day per fight scene with 2 cameras. So we really had to bust our ass. And then once we started filming, so Vinnie moves up in weight, which Roberto Duran won titles at lightweight and junior middle. At the time, Vinnie and Duran were the only guys to win titles at those 2 weights. So I started the movie at 168, 6% body fat, and then in like 2.5 weeks I had to put on 15 pounds.
So how do you
But that's
put
the
on
fun
15
part.
pounds?
You eat, you finally get to like eat something. In all those Italian, in all those dinner scenes, I remember, because it was early on in my training, not early on in my training, early on in the film for me, I still had to be lean, so I had to just spit out the pasta every take.
So
It's okay, I was okay. I will.
when did you actually get to start enjoying the pasta to put the 15 pounds on?
Maybe it was like after that first week, I was finally able to eat some stuff. It's tough. A couple of my buddies, even in high school, man. If you guys were friends with somebody or you wrestled, my buddies that were wrestlers, these guys were doing things that you just don't. As a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, you just don't have that kind of focus and determination. My buddies were cutting weight in high school. They were outrunning the football players. They were wearing the sweatsuits and doing the jogging at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, it's an incredible, the dedication that you have to have. And these fighters, what they go through in fight camp, it's brutal. So by the time that they get to fight, that's the enjoyment. And they're taking, not being able to eat this or this, not seeing their girl, not doing any of that stuff. Like my guy said, now you take that out on the dude in the ring. Because it's tough, man. What fighters do, losing, and Vinnie is specifically losing 15, 20 pounds a week in a fight. It's just, it's unreal what those guys go through.
And of course, one of the interesting things that classic film fans will know is one of the fight secrets for losing weight, as you demonstrated so beautifully, wrapping your body in saran wrap and sweating off the weight. Yeah. The beauty secret of the stars in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, I actually read, I think it was like the New York Times or something. He was talking about how it's actually a boxing movie that gets boxing. In boxing movies, you never see the guys cut the weight. You see them, and then you see them in the match, and they get knocked down, and then they have this big narrative comeback from that knockdown. That's just not how boxing works, man. So I don't know. We've shown this movie to a lot of boxers, and they feel that it's pretty authentic.
Yeah, I mean, I worked on 2 of the Rocky films with Stallone, And I know Rob Sally, one of the greatest boxing choreographers around, and I knew the whole Fraser family. So I watched a lot of training camps, and amazing. And what is in this film is totally authentic. And kudos to Ben Younger, kudos to you, and Bruce Cohen, one of the biggest producing champions around.
Yeah.
Without Bruce, I don't think this film would have been made.
Well, he came on a little, yes, absolutely, Bruce, a phenomenal producer. Without a doubt, it wouldn't have gotten made without Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
Marty came on board. He met Ben because he was very vocal about it, but Boiler Room, he was kind of a bit of a template that he used for Wolf of Wall Street. Mm-hmm. And so, because Ben had worked on this script, and basically once Marty came on board, Ben told him what he was working on. Marty said that's the greatest movie never told. That's the greatest sports story never told. And our financier is this kid. He's my age. So at the time, he's self-made, I think millionaire at this point. And as a 27-year-old, wrote a $6 million check. He sat with Marty. Marty sat with him. He was unsure about writing the check. He had a meeting with Marty, and after that, we were good.
Oh my God! Didn't write you one for $6 million?
Yeah, right. No way.
I'm working the room. I'm working for you,
Independent filmmaking, man. It's like,
woo!
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So let's open this up to some of you lovely people. Who has a question? Right here.
Reportedly, Vinnie Besianza cried after watching the film, and that's the ultimate critique you can have. How does it feel?
It feels great. Obviously you want the movie to connect with fans. If critics dig it, that's a bonus. Award stuff, whatever, that's a bonus. But it's you try and make these movies for the communities, small communities of people, and this is like a realization I'm just kind of coming to a little later on. But yeah, absolutely, the fact that Vinny watched this movie, and he'll tell you it's 99% authentic, and we're putting his parents on screen. Both of his parents are gone. We're putting Kevin Rooney on screen. Kevin Rooney has dementia. Vinny's the godfather to Kevin's kid. Those guys were so close. That fighter relationship is sacred. And for Vinny to watch this movie and feel like we got it right, and that we really created his home life in a very authentic way. I mean, he's not crying about winning the championship or getting the halo on. He's crying when he's seeing his mom and dad in this movie at like the dinner table. Those are moments to him that are very precious. And they would be to me, they would be to anybody if they're putting their family on screen. So, yeah, it means a lot. I mean, Vinny just wishes his parents could be here. That's honestly the thing. He's like, I wish my dad could have been here to see all this, man. He would have loved it. But, yeah, if we made a movie that did a ton of box office and won all these awards, but Vinny felt like it was a betrayal, then that'd be terrible. So, yes, the fact that he loves it, that means a lot.
How was the premiere, the showing in Providence?
Providence is a trip, man. I've never seen more dudes dressed as, like, Sopranos characters. Every dude had a scarf and a zoot suit. All the women looked like they were going to prom in 1992. It was awesome. Vinny they don't have a sports team, They don't have the Red Sox or the Yankees. Rhode Island's never put on screen. And it was cool, but I'm not kidding. I was sitting in the theater. Every 2 minutes, somebody was getting up to go to the lobby because they had a bar out there in the movie theater. So every 2 minutes, somebody's getting up and going. And I'm like, this is a premiere of your guy. We're watching a movie. So I actually had to go to another theater because I was just it was making me too anxious. I couldn't do it.
That was a brilliant performance.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I love your whiplash. It's changed my life. Can you talk about the parallels between this role and Whiplash? There's some obvious ones, I think.
Yeah,
what it means for you personally.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy. Look, with a character like Andrew or a character like Vinny, there's no gray area. Those guys want to be the best. In this case, Vinny. Yeah, Vinny just knew that he was going to be a fighter, wanted to be a fighter. I enjoy that kind of internal drive, I guess, an obsession, because it's like my guy's got one thing going. That's all he wants. And with Andrew, yeah, it just happened to be jazz drumming. But if he was like a buff dude and wanted to do this, he had the heart and he had the passion and he had the obsession and the focus and all those things. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I was in college and we could do scenes, I was never doing a scene where I was just sitting at a coffee diner or whatever and like flirting with the girl. No, I wanted to do the scene that was, intense, and you just don't get a lot of those opportunities as a young actor. So, yeah, I enjoy it. It's nice to be able to just throw yourself into it.
Did you ever see yourself doing a boxing movie, or?
If you were to ask me, I think a couple years ago, I'd say, yeah, eventually. I hope I like, and also like blue collar stories. Those are the guys I grew up with. Some of my best friends are military and construction workers, and those are the guys I relate to. But yeah, I just played a soldier earlier this year. Check. I wanted to do a Vietnam movie that didn't come around. So, but I got to play a soldier, and I just played a firefighter, and getting to play Vinnie the boxer. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's probably a little ego or it's a little vain, but you want to be on screen with blood coming down your face and just saying like, bring it on, because as an actor you don't have to deal with the consequences. And this movie was tough as hell to shoot. It really was. All that stuff with the halo was a pain in the ass. That thing was from a hospital. She put it on my head. We realized that it wanted to move up and down, and so we just had to like screw it in my head. We put little rubber pieces on, and we just had it in my head like a vice, and just to make it as tight as it could so it wouldn't move, because we were doing takes early on, and the thing would move, and it's like you can't use that. But with that being said, this movie, like, I just really connected to Vinnie as a man, as a person. As the comeback to me is what really drew me in. That kind of those moments. The middle of the movie, that's really where I connected to the script. But yeah, I don't know. I honestly didn't think I could really get in like that kind of shape. To be honest with you, like I got buddies that eat McDonald's and go to the gym twice a week and they're ripped. That was just never me. I'm like, I'm eating right. I'm working out. I just was not getting what people call muscles and stuff.
I'm curious, Miles, how did it impact your performance? You had the luxury, or maybe a curse in some respects, of shooting in Vinnie's hometown, in some of the exact locations. The auto accident was the location where it happened. How does that inform your performance, help, hinder?
Yeah, well, at first, because Ben asked me, he said, do you want Vinnie on set? And I was kind of like, no, I don't know. I was super nervous about playing this guy. I didn't want to be embarrassed with him seeing me with the boxing or doing the accent or doing these things. And yeah, I just felt like it would just add another pressure to being on set. And then once I got on set, I felt like it just felt so lived in. Like once Aaron came on, and Kieran Hines and Katie Seagal, and the house that we were filming in, we were all staying in that house pretty much. All our dressing rooms were in that house, and everything just felt so authentic that it didn't take much for me to say, yes, Ben, absolutely, bring Vinnie on, man. Have him here as much as he wants, because in a weird way, I wanted him to kind of see himself and his family 25 years ago. These moments in his life that are so cherished and that he loves so much, I wanted to have him on set. That being said, yeah, Vinnie's he's a larger-than-life character, man, and it's tough. I've played a couple real-life people at this point, and they're giving creative liberties over to these people from Hollywood who are making a film about their life. Like, this movie absolutely is going to impact Vinnie's life right now. People are going to see it. A lot of people haven't seen him fight. This movie is, we're representing him, and so you just want to make sure you get it right. But it was cool filming in Providence, honestly. Everywhere I'd go, people would just tell me a story about Vinnie. Vinnie still walks around, goes to Dunkin' Donuts, and people are still calling him champ. It's just a cool, it's just a cool thing. Little note in real life, Vinnie, because Vinnie was a big gambler, as you guys see, and he loved women. Like, dude, yeah, lots of strip clubs and stuff. But in real life, that first fight, Roger Mayweather, he got paid $250,000 for the fight, and the night before the fight, he bet $100,000 on himself, and he lost. So in Vegas, it's weird. Like, you can still bet on yourself in boxing. You just can't bet yourself to lose, obviously. But boxing, it's the Wild West, man. There's really no unions. It's all promoters. It's very shady.
So
it is. Boxing is super shady, man. The promoters run it, and these guys don't get don't get paid, and they come from such humble beginnings. Guys that fight because they can't do anything else. They don't know anything else. Usually there's a ton of stuff going on. A lot of these guys don't have, their dads weren't around, and you know, and all these things. But
You know, you really embraced the blackjack tables. So how is your blackjack?
I just played the other night. I was doing pretty well until I wasn't. That's pretty much gambling for you. Walk away. I don't know. It's high-priced entertainment. If I was like, I can't. My dad always said, "Don't bet what you can't afford to lose." So I don't go into it trying. I'm not trying to like make my rent on it, thankfully. But yeah, I have some fun. I did okay. I had a bad beat at the end.
Uh-oh.
This motherfucker. Yeah, I should have stayed on 16.
Let's get...
You guys get it, right?
I'm from New England, so I was really impressed with your accent. So how did you prepare to do that?
Thank you. Yeah, I was really nervous about it, but after kind of learning about it, meeting people from Rhode Island. Rhode Island is a very proud community, and they're not Boston, and they're not New York, and they'll tell you that. Their Italian-American community is very proud. I mean, the mayor went to jail for like all these counts of racketeering, and he almost got reelected in jail. He barely lost. It's like an awesome place, but yeah, you walk into an Italian restaurant, it's 4 dudes in suits, kind of sitting and drinking red wine, you know, whisper talking, and then you walk in and it's like. Anyway. But yeah, so I got a accent dialect coach, and the guy taught at he teaches at Brown, and he just knew the accent really well, and I was just meeting with him, you know, once or twice a week, doing, you know, hours and hours of sessions, but yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's not your accent, and so every once in a while you'll be saying, you say a word in the middle of a scene, and there's just a part of your brain that goes, ooh, that was not the right vowel sound, or that did sound right. So yeah, you're in a bit of a fragile state until you really feel like you have it down.
So you've done a lot of different kind of films over your career, everything from indie dramas to being a superhero, and this being kind of a huge landmark in your career as a serious actor. What kind of films do you think this will take you to? What do you want to do next? What kind of space are you passionate about exploring now?
Yeah, it's it's interesting because audiences and stuff, they're just a little. It takes a while. You film the movie, and then it takes. In this case, we filmed this movie 2 years ago, so it's just coming out now, and audiences are just kind of being introduced to you in this space. But yeah, I mean, my favorite actors are dramatic actors. I also love Jeff Bridges or Philip Seymour Hoffman and Dustin Hoffman, these guys that kind of went back and forth. But when you're doing it for your, it's also like my life. So earlier this year, I did a film, and it was about soldiers coming back from Iraq. It's called Thank You for Your Service, based on real guys. And we got in that community. It's very much shining a spotlight on PTSD, and that was the community I was embedded in, and I was only hanging around with vets and really trying to get in that space. And yeah, I probably was thinking maybe after this I'd do something a little different, and then I got this script called Granite Mountain, which is about this wildland fire tragedy 3 years ago where 19 of the 20 firefighters passed away, and I played a lone survivor from that, and it was another thing, like just really heavy material, and I had 5 weeks in between. And yeah, I was feeling burnt out, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this again, but the script, it just moved me so much, and I felt like, yeah, I wanted to tell this guy's story. So, I don't know, with that being said, I'm playing an aardvark next. I'm doing my first animated film. That should be fun. I've talked to actors, like, it's tough as shit, you're in a room 8 hours in a microphone. I don't know, I gotta be an aardvark. So I don't know, yeah, I don't know, I enjoy, like I said, those kind of blue collar stories are things I'm interested in, but at the end of the day, someone's got to say yes to you. Like I'm not Tom Hardy, I'm not those guys. I have to be able to find a character that's, a couple of years younger than the guys that they were playing, but still hopefully something that I'd want to go see. And, it's tough. There's no blueprint for it, but I don't know. I feel like I'm in a good spot, man. I feel like I'm actually starting to kind of steer my career in the way that I want to take it. And, I don't know. So, soldier, firefighter, aardvark is what's going on in my life right now.
All right, let's squeeze squeeze in one or two quick questions before I know they have to kick us out here.
Or long question, short answer, whatever you guys want.
One or the other, it works.
For the choreographed fight scenes, were you ever afraid you were actually going to get hit in the face?
Yeah, I mean, so all the fighters in the movie, they're real fighters. And for the first fight, this guy's name's Kid Chocolate, and he's still fighting. His real name's Peter Quillen, but his fight name's Kid Chocolate. And for that first fight, we had about 5 days to choreograph it, so I felt pretty comfortable with that. The second fighter, we only had about a day and a half to rehearse, but I know I knocked him out in the second round, so that's all good. And the third fighter was this dude, Edwin Rodriguez. He was a top 10 guy at the time, a badass. He took a fight without telling us, like 3 days before or something, flew down, and I only had about 6 hours with him. But we need to get all this footage, you know. Like I said, on big budget boxing movies, those things are choreographed. You got the camera guy working with you months before you do it. We just didn't have it, man. It was an independent film. But yeah, I mean, you're doing moments of like free boxing. A lot of stuff's free boxing. And I don't know, I was just like, dude, I can't look timid, and you got to think like Vinnie. Vinnie's a friggin' animal. But I don't know, I remember at one point I just told Ben, because we were a little unsure if this guy knew the numbers to work with, and I was like, well, if he knocks me out, let's just get it any bit close-up. That's all you can do. What are you going to say, like, I'm scared? No, and also, it just looks good. If you get hit for real, I mean, it looks good.
So at the end of the film, we heard the reporter ask Vinnie, what was the biggest lie that was ever, told to him? At this point in your career, you're getting ready to go into your 30s. Here in Hollywood, your acting career has been pretty good in your 20s. What's the biggest lie that's ever been told to Miles Teller?
Not that simple. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, when I was in college, it's not really a lie. Maybe it was a lie I kind of told myself, but, when I was in college, when I was in college, Shia LaBeouf obviously was doing his thing, and I watched his trajectory, and I was just thinking, yeah, I felt like me and Shia had some similar skill sets, and I thought, okay, yeah, I just need to kind of get my Disturbia. I need to get this like coming of age thing, and then someone like a Steven Spielberg is going to see me, and he's going to want to put me in like a Transformers, and then you're a freaking movie star. And it just doesn't happen like that, man. So many movies, I've had a lot of things where I was like, dude, don't pay me up front, just give me a percent of the back end, this thing is going to be a hit, I guarantee you. I'm telling people, like, this movie is going to be huge, and it just bombs. And that's happened to me a lot. And, I don't know, if you just keep doing it, hopefully, and then something like Whiplash. Whiplash, I was that director's first film, pretty much. We did that in 19 days and $2.5 million, and that was kind of the movie for me. I mean, I'd done, some stuff, but that was really the one that I think set me on a bit of a different course. So, I don't know, I guess it's not that simple. It's a real thing, because, yeah, I thought it was that simple. I do like a Disturbia, and then Spielberg wants me to blow up Transformers, and then it's like a thing. But, I don't know. There's a lot of bullshit in the business, but I don't know, man. I still feel I feel like there's a purity with acting, and I don't know, like early this year, the Firefly movie, I'm on set doing scenes with Jeff Bridges and Josh Brolin and Jennifer Connelly, so I feel like I'm in the right spot. But for me, it's just taken longer than I thought. And even though I'm achieving success early, I was just like, it'll be easier. I don't know. They're showing Fantastic Beasts in here in 10 minutes.
Do this young man right here.
Hey, so you probably don't remember this at all, but I was at the Oscars when you were there for Whiplash, and I always tell my friends this story. There's a question, I promise. I always tell my friends this story when I was passing by you. You were leaving in the governor's ball, and I looked at you and I said, "Hey man, congrats on Whiplash. It was really good." And you're like, "Yeah, thanks." And you're walking away, and I'm like, whatever, he's busy. But you turned around, you looked at me, and you said, "No, hey man, seriously. Thank you, I really appreciate that." And then you left.
I was like, I hope I'm not an asshole in this story, man. Holy shit.
No, but that says a lot about you, I think. Not just as like an actor, but as a person. Do you feel, how tough, I guess, is it, to keep up that, like, that I'm still just a guy persona, even though you're a big deal to me anyway. But
Thanks, man. Thank you. I didn't know where that story was going.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I would have bailed you out, don't worry.
No, like, yeah, I mean, I'm not an asshole, so that helps. Yeah, you do want to make movies that connect with fans. So for you to tell me that, yeah, absolutely, man, I do want to say thank you. And you want to make movies that move people. Sometimes you got to be in movies that are people enjoy popcorn and put butts in seats. But I want to make movies like that. Just stay grounded. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was just at this thing earlier, and it was with, like, my two best friends from high school. All my buddies are my buddies I've had since I was like 14. I also grew up pretty much in a town of like 10,000 people. So it's hard. You're still from somewhere, and nobody's groomed for Hollywood. Nobody's groomed to be famous. That's something that just kind of like happens or it doesn't. But yeah, I don't know. That's just how I was raised. I don't think I'm better than anybody. I want to be able to like sit and talk to the construction worker and then talk to the president and whoever, man. I don't know. I really enjoy. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just interested in like people and I don't know, booze.
Thank you.
Which we didn't have at our last junket.
Yeah. Oh man. I did this junket for this movie 21 and Over, and I knew we were maybe in a bit of trouble when at the junket it was like 10 o'clock in the morning and they were serving. They're called adios motherfuckers. It's like tequila, vodka, and Bloody Marys, and just trying to get all the journalists as drunk as they could.
And half of them were.
Yeah.
You and I were the only ones not drinking.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what this means, but it was at Saddle Ranch. So.
This is the life he leads.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. But thank you guys very much.
Thank all of you for coming.